DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
DSPN, welcome to it again. Great news. We've been sitting on this for over a week now. The embargo has been lifted. The All Blacks are heading to South Africa next year. 4 test matches. I'll explain all the details in just a second. Such fantastic news, not only for the All Blacks themselves and the Springboks, those who play, but for us, the fans. We are back in the Republic for a proper old school tour. 4 test matches, 4 midweek games. Those are against the URC sides. This is the first full tour since that unforgettable 1996 series when us, New Zealand, finally broke the curse and won there for the first time ever. And those pictures, they're immortal now, aren't they? Sean Fitzpatrick pounding the ground at Loftus Versfeld and Pretoria. 4 tests were played on that tour. We won the first 3 and we lost in Joburg. 3 of the tests next year are going to be played in South Africa. The 4th one at a neutral venue, Twickenham. Bit of a cash grab for everyone involved. It's being billed as rugby's greatest rivalry. And for us here, it's hard to argue. The All Blacks and the Springboks share more than a century of fierce history, respect and hostility served up in equal measure. The tours go all the way back to 1928, then 1949. We lost 4-0, 1960, 1970, 1976. There was the controversial Cavaliers tour in 1986, the Rebels going there as individuals. That doesn't really count as an official tour. And then, of course, as I said, that triumphant return in 1996. Finally, climbing rugby's highest mountain. Since then, visits have been fleeting, just 1 or 2 tests at a time in the Tri-Nations and the Rugby Championship. But this time is different, a full tour, a test of skill, endurance, belief, the kind that defines eras, creates legends. Perfect timing for both Coach Razor and his players, desperate to re-establish themselves as a team that can genuinely claim to be the world's best. You go there and beat the world's best, and beat them in a 4-test series. Yeah, you are the world's best at that time. The Springboks, let's be honest, have had the upper hand lately, winning 5 of the last 6 against us, including that record-breaking defeat in Wellington last month. But that only adds fuel to the fire. For the All Blacks, this is redemption. For us rugby fans, it's pure theatre, the ultimate challenge, and I reckon the perfect build-up to the 2027 World Cup. The 2 greatest rivals, back where it all began. We're touring South Africa. Bring it on. Here it is then. The press conference that we had last week, as I said, embargoed until today. A few members of the Rat Pack getting together with Coach Scott Robertson to talk about this tour and what it means. This is the full, unedited press conference.
Marty Sermons, brought to you by WebWonks. Generate online leads with WebWonks. Doctors for your Google data.
I know that a lot of people will be asking the similar kind of questions to you. But just growing up as a youngster and then obviously through your career, you never got to tour South Africa and didn't get to play on a tour like this. Lynn is, I'll defer to you, Lynn, in these matters. You're, the same age as me. I hate to say probably maybe a year older or something. But we grew up, mate, with the legendary tours of the 60s. And, I go back just the history of 56, 49, and then you go into the 70s and so forth. So it's a long-winded question for you, Scott. But it's just simply just capturing how you feel now that this has been confirmed, that this is just one of rugby's greatest ever, not only rivalries, but it's just such a great set of circumstances to be able to have this in front of us now.
Yeah, good intro, Martin. You're a bit of a historian, aren't you? It's a nice touch, a lot of nice memories, and you remember probably the freshest one was 96, wasn't it, when there was that marvellous result they had, and you had Fitzy and Marshy and all those boys crumpled at the end of it, and with glory all around them, how hard it was for them to win, and the first time they'd ever done it. And that's probably the last of the new school, so it's great to do it again and get old school on it and have midweek games and sort of replicate the Lions in some ways, but with our own storied history, which is with Springboks, which is, when you look at the annuals, it's pretty special, the amount of big occasions we've had, and another one's ahead next year. Yeah.
Is it too early to talk about what this might mean for you, your coaching group and the players personally, just in terms of, and I am reluctant to reference Wellington, but when a piece of history like that is stamped down, it's our worst ever score. Is there a redemption aspect? So, I've got to admit, is there a redemption aspect to this? If we go there and win this test series, What would that do for you in terms of that?
Oh, you want to win every series, and it's always fresh when you have those records, which is not your fondest, is it? It's and you get occasion like this. Obviously, this has been in the background for quite a while now, and you work closely with it, which is scheduling and your timing, and the more you see, the more excited you get. It's fortunate to play Super Rugby against the South Africans for a long period of time, and coach as well, and you know what it's like to play the Stormers and Sharks and Bulls and those Lions games on the side of a test match as well. So it's that full package, and you're all in, and you get to do it, and you get it with a great group of supporters. I'm sure there'll be some that had done it before and want to do it again while they can, and support the All Blacks in the Republic.
Final question from me then, just in terms of World Cup preparation, you can't dial up anything better than this, can you?
That's it. And it builds your depth, and it builds your quality of combinations, and you find out about yourself, especially 4 tests. We watched the Lions tour with a lot of interest and intrigue in how that was going to work out with just the 3 tests. But, the size of their squads, the size of their management group, the coaching group, how did they look after themselves over that period of time? So we've got a reference point, but this is different. It's South Africa, and it's a historic game, and something we're looking forward to.
You got and also an opportunity after it's announced today to put it on the back burner, and we've got the other small matter of quite a big tour with 4 tests to come as well to look forward to as well. What a way to end the season this is, mate.
Yeah, it is. A Grand Slam in itself is pretty special. Again, if you look at the history and the success and how hard it's been over the years, and it's a great opportunity that we've got.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Scott, Lynn here, mate. Just how much does this change your preparation dynamic in terms of selection and what you've got to plan for? I mean, it's something that we haven't done for a long time, but there are different requirements under the situation.
Look, you're talking about squad numbers, etc.
Yes, that sort of thing, yeah. And the way you select the team.
That's correct. You're going to have these clearly midweek games and these test teams, these test games, and how you keep the whole squad, the tour together and become as one, it's you're playing in their black jersey, and each game's special in it, and each game is massive, and for both teams playing, and how many that's why I was talking about the Lions. How many players do you need? How many players will you use? How many injuries you're going to have? How do you prepare each other in those weeks where you've got a sort of 5-day turnaround? And what's the best way to maximise yourself in your time on tour? So there's a lot of work that goes into it, and a lot of time for yourself to peak. So it is so unique.
And how much difference does it make to the way you look at Super Rugby and the team you've got to pick? Well,
you look at Super Rugby as Super Rugby. How they're going to play, and they're playing the Aussies and each other, and you look at how can they adapt and step up to test footy. Have they got this required skill set? Can they play into your structure? Have they obviously we play with a lot of skill and high tempo, and that's our DNA, and can they transfer it to test footy?
Cool. Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers.
Hey, Razor, Ricardo here, mate. Just how important is having this series now ahead of a World Cup, particularly given we're not playing South African teams in Super Rugby so much anymore? I had Brody on the show a couple of weeks back, and we're talking about the Springbok Challenge, and he said, mate, I've never packed a scrum down with a Springbok forward pack, which was blew my mind, so just how important is this on that front?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Those clashes and at the high veld, you've got your different, we're not playing high veld, are we, here in NZ? You're not going up
country.
Play up in the light area. So, there's all those variations, and the ball fights differently. They're bigger bodies. They play different style. There's a lot of aerial game, as we know very well from a few weeks ago, and obviously they've got a style now. They can hold the ball if they want to too. So all those different styles of way they want to play is what we'll learn, and it's a great thing about doing it in a tour. You get tight, and you take on anything that's in front of you, and it's going to be a hell of a tour.
And what do you think it means going forward for the Rugby Championship? Obviously, you don't have that next year and truncated one in 27. Do you think in a way that this will make the Rugby Championship more special because you're not playing it every year?
Yeah, I think it becomes sort of more unique, and it's not truncated. Actually, we do play a full Rugby Championship World Cup year, and then obviously in 2030. So, the variations and the ability, with the Lions, with the greatest rugby rivalry. All those things just add into the calendar beautifully for interest globally.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Hi, Coach. Jamie here. How are you?
Jamie, yeah, good. Nice photo in the back there. I'm somewhere just behind you right here, I think. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's been so long, and apologies might have already been asked, but it's been so long since the All Blacks have done this. Will you be reaching out to people that perhaps were involved to sort of maybe talk about how a tour actually works? Because it is kind of a bit different enough from a World Cup, because, it's just been so long.
Yeah, you do. You always reflect. Part of my job as the head coach is to connect back into the legacy and learn stories that have to be passed down, and what you did well and what did you learn from, and, help shape how tough the tour is and what it's going to take of you, because it does take these test matches, and then there's touring, and then there's 4 tests. It's a different level again. So, how do you create an environment where you can get the best out of each other over that period of time? You're away, and how are you going to draw from each other and get the best out on the biggest occasion?
Yeah, thanks. And just also, the history of this is such a big deal. And again, like most of these players wouldn't have even been born the last time the All Blacks toured South Africa. How much is them knowing the history of the old school tours going to be a part of building the team?
Oh, there's always like I mentioned, a little doco, just so that we can learn. Someone tells a story for us, what's the historical relevance to us as All Blacks. What was the result, why, and what it's going to take, because you've also got to reflect the other story about what the Springboks have been through, and, the story of their rugby lineage and World Cups, and you draw all on those things to where we've got to now. So it's a great part of the storytelling.
How are you doing?
You're good,
Hi.
thank you.
Sorry. I wonder if you were in during the discussions when the tour was kind of planned, or you're still in discussion with them. And is there anything that's concerned you about the tour and you wanted to change, or is there any particular requests that you made while the planning of the tour?
It's a pretty in-depth question, isn't it? Look, you always look at the sequence and who plays who and where, and the best thing so when you're on tour, you can look at a natural pathway through Africa, and one place to the next, so it's a bit of fluidity to it. So we had those discussions. You're always looking what's best for yourself and in your group. But look, we know we wanted to play the URC teams, and when the 4th test got put on there, we thought that's a great opportunity. It fits perfectly, so let's get into it.
Razor, is the anticipation there already? Like, did you and Rassie speak about this, when South Africa was here a few weeks ago?
No, we didn't. We weren't talking about that, mate. We were talking about getting results in test matches. It was more, that week. So we didn't indirectly, but obviously all the New Zealand management worked closely with the South Africa to make sure this happened. And, when we come to it publicly, that we had everything lined up.
And you're expecting a pretty strong Kiwi contingent to travel over. It's a, pretty incredible experience, I imagine, for, people wanting to go check out the tour.
Yeah, look, like I was saying, it's one of those boxes, and you just got to tick as a rugby supporter, getting to the Republic, getting on tour, watching a tour, getting a few Castle Lagers and you're getting to Ellis Park, and their part of it's pretty unique and it's pretty special. It's a once in a lifetime for a lot of people. So, we expect a lot of Kiwis and black jerseys coming over. Yeah.
Razor, can you just clarify? Hello, how are you?
Yeah.
Can you just clarify? So July, you've got the 3 Nations Cup tests. Is there a Bledisloe next year?
Yep, we play 2 after. Yeah, we do. 2. We come back. We've got a few weeks before we play Bledisloe again.
So the South African tour is sort of August, September.
Correct.
Right. And so the URC, you would play the URC teams as those 4 provincial.
That's correct. Yeah.
Matches. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And you play three of those, then you have a test, and you play the 4th one, and then the 3 tests are after that. Correct.
I'd imagine London be a prime candidate for the international venue for the 4th test?
It could be, Sav.
I hear it's quite nice that time of year.
Yeah, look, I think they're looking at all options. Obviously get into a neutral ground for the last one. A lot of expats around all over the show, so that'll be full pretty quick.
I suggest if you want to. Scott, regarding the 4 provincial teams that you will play during the tour, are there the former Super Rugby teams? So they are the teams that actually are playing up north in the URC? Yeah,
correct. Yes. Yep. We play all 4 of those sides, so they'll be quality sides, and obviously played different styles with the Northern Hemisphere team, so there'll be a challenge in itself. As we know, South Africa's strong at the moment. They've got a lot of depth and quality sides that have been in finals over the last few years for that competition. And won. Yeah.
Sorry, can I just clear again? I'm a bit stupid. So the 4 provincial matches, 3 tests. Then at the end of all this, is there another, what's called the international? That's the 4th test against South Africa. That's same tour, but it's separate tour because it's going to be at another venue outside of South Africa. That's what we're saying.
I think, yeah. With these 4 tests, there's 3 in South Africa and 1 outside of South Africa, but it's the same tour. But we're all going on tour together at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So, but this last one comes kind of once we've done this tour, because we just have to email the boss and make sure he's booking our airfares tomorrow. So we go, and then from there we go to London straight after that. So that's how, I'm sure everyone on the panel's thinking exactly the same thing here. So that's how we get it organised, right, Sav?
Wherever it is. Yeah. That's all part of the package, correct?
And will that be continued in 2030? 4 tests with 1 a neutral venue, or has that not been decided yet?
That's a good question. I can't actually honestly answer that. I'm sure if next year's one goes well, we'll add somewhere else. We'll end up, I don't know, we would take that one offshore, but if it's back in New Zealand, we'll wait and see. But yeah, for this stage, it's just it's the 4. Yep.
So it's quite a change for fans, isn't it? 3 different nations in July, then 4 against the South Africans, then 2 Bledisloes, then another Northern tour at the end of next year, I assume. So things are changing. How exciting is that, or how much of a challenge is that going to be, with everything being very different from next year?
Oh, mate, test footy just keeps giving, doesn't it? Like the quality of all the teams worldwide, it's becoming way more global, and the opportunity something like this tour to give our the players in Super Rugby a chance to experience something a little bit different, which we need. And that's why when they said to us, can we do it? I said, of course we can. Let's build our depth of our squad. These guys give opportunities. We all become 40-odd players, maybe a couple more. We'll be all together on a tour, and next year sets us up for 27.
DSPN.